Greetings and welcome everybody to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. It's October 10th and we're 2 days away from Microsoft Ignite, an amazing show that we've been handling virtually in the past couple of years and in person before that. And this year it's going to be a combination of virtual and in person. It's one of the things we're going to talk about with my two guests. Let me ask them to introduce themselves. Natalia, let's go to you first and say hi, tell everybody who you are and what you do. And you've both been on the show before, so shouldn't take long.
Yes, of course. My name is Natalia Herrera, and I'm the Senior Director for Global Alliances Marketing at Poly.
And Duncan, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm Duncan Barnes. I'm the Director for Microsoft Global Alliances. I'm super excited to be here, Dave.
Terrific. So Duncan, you're probably the longest attendee of the show amongst the three of us. Why don't you give us a couple of sentences? Tell us what is Microsoft Ignite for somebody who might not be familiar with it.
Yeah, so Microsoft Ignite is honestly that's the opportunity for customers and partners to truly get the experience of what partners are bringing to the market in the coming years, right? And what can be expected. It's an opportunity to network with individuals. It's an opportunity to see what OEMs are doing. It's an opportunity to network even with the system integrators. And more importantly, actually, to even network with Microsoft. Now, the past couple of years has typically been in person in Orlando, at the convention center. COVID pretty much has kind of put a damper on things in terms of in-person events. So it's gone from in-person back then to this virtual event that we've been pretty much accustomed to over the last couple of years. This year, Microsoft's trying something super different, which is a hybrid event. So they've got a mix between this virtual as well as an in-person event. Plus, they're having some kind of small showcases around the globe as well. So it'll be good to see what people's feedback is on this, whether hybrid events are the way to go. Alternatively, is Microsoft looking at going back into in-person? Most likely. I do hope for that day.
Well, major kudos to Microsoft, and we've talked about this on this weekly show before, that one of the things that was a silver lining in the horrific pandemic is we were able to open up these conferences and these seminars to people that are disabled and homebound and couldn't make it out. And a lot of the entities that have gone back into in-person conferences have sort of conveniently forgot that that's a door that they opened up, and Microsoft didn't. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a big success and that we're going to have people that are participating both online and in person. Natalia, what is our in-person element going to be like this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Duncan said, it's going to be really exciting. There's going to be a lot of in-person activations, but we're going to be able to leverage the Microsoft platform to bring a lot of things to life through the different experiences that they're building. It's actually really exciting how they're differentiating the way that we're going to be able to interact with the digital core and also with the in-person experience and bring some of that goodness that we're going to have in person to life through the Teams platform. Some of the things that you'll see is that Poly will be bringing to life a huge experience around the different workspace and work styles that we're able to support, not only from a video perspective, but obviously across the board in the categories that we participate in today, with the breadth of certifications that we hold with Microsoft. And with that, some new exciting events also that we'll be able to communicate around new announcements and certifications and so forth that will be going on with Microsoft.
Now we're putting the show on 2 days before the conference is happening, so we really can't talk about the announcements. But I really want to talk about the announcements. So I'm gonna say that we can't really talk about it here. We definitely don't want to steal the thunder from the press releases and everything else that's going on. But this isn't that we're putting in a third blue switch to the left. We've got some major announcements coming out at the show. I assume that you guys would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of these announcements are, of course, under embargo, as you know, David, but they are exciting. I'm excited to actually share them. I wish I could sit here and tell you what's going to come down the line, but I can guarantee you that when you get to the Poly Showcase site through the virtual event that they have, you will get to see all those announcements up front. We'll be talking about them also in this separate sessions that we'll be hosting. We've got a number of sessions that will be delivered. We've got Ask the Experts. So I'll encourage whoever's watching this to come in there, ask the experts the questions, right? Bring them. Let's throw these tough questions out to our team who are subject matter experts in the return to office, in the meeting room space, and even in the voice space, that we can kind of, have open dialogue. From a features perspective, there's some really interesting stuff coming down the line, which would, again, super excited to share it. We just can't do it right now.
Yeah. And if you followed Poly at all over the last few months or years, and you followed Microsoft over the last few months or years, these are things you've been asking about. So there's definitely a real incentive for you to join and be part of this, especially because you can join online and follow what some of these amazing things are going to be. Talk with our people and
Yep.
really get the gist of what's going on here. And Natalia, I know you manage all of our relationships, all of our partnerships with entities in the industry, and I know that this is one of the most important ones because of the history, because of the breadth. You know, we've been highlighted at Microsoft events in the past as being the only partner of theirs that have the breadth of solutions. I'm sure that kind of conversation it continues to take place when they come to speak with us at the show, right?
Yeah, we work very closely with Microsoft to stay in lockstep on all the big bets around the industry. So a lot of the things that you'll see, like you said, are things that our customers have been asking for. But in addition to that, it's also what jointly Microsoft and Poly are seeing as an opportunity in the marketplace to bring to life customer experiences that are really needed. And I think the most important things is that we're trying for our technology to be as smart as possible to blend into the environment. So a lot of the representation that we'll have in the actual in-person event will showcase where we are at and what we've been able to accomplish. The exciting thing about this is we haven't been able to do this in a very long time, not exclusively with one of our biggest partners in the industry like Microsoft. So we're excited that after 2 years and a half of not being able to showcase like all the goodness that we've been able to bring to life in the past 2.5 years, we're actually going to be able to show off all these exciting things across the different categories that we support.
Yeah, Duncan, who are the types of people that should be attending this? What is it for end users? Is it for integrators?
Yeah.
Is it partners? Is it for everyone?
I think, from my perspective, it's everybody who cares about this industry and who cares about the way we need to get back to work and how we deliver meetings and drive meeting equity and so forth, right? So whether you're a partner, whether you're a customer, whether you're an OEM, whether you're trying to understand a little bit more about the space, definitely. What is interesting in this hybrid event approach that Microsoft is taking, unfortunately, there are limited seats for in-person, right? So again, if you're able to get that ticket and you're able to get into that in-person event, make full use of it, right? Natalia alluded to this earlier on. We have got a fully dedicated space, pretty huge space, where we can take customers through the start of their journey in terms of how they wake up in the morning, where they work from their home office, into what it looks like when they're going to return into the office, to what it looks like in their workspaces at the office or their hoteling kind of experiences come hot desking. And then more importantly, how they look in terms of their transit and like what devices do they need to use? How do we go through that whole end life cycle between home, office, remote work, back to home kind of scenario? So we've mapped that out. We encourage individuals to kind of sign up for this, to take part in this this journey and this experience center that we've got set up at Ignite.
And it sort of parallels a lot of the persona research that we do. We've got research, and I know we've talked about on the show before, that we certainly can make available to our partners and our customers about understanding the types of employees, the types of personas that you have within an organization, and getting them the right products. And one of the things we're starting to see more and more of, especially as we become these really good at this hybrid working, is that there isn't always just one right answer. We have a lot of warriors out there that have a tool that they use for when they're traveling, and a tool that they use for their home office, and a tool that they use when they're in their office. And it may the right answer may not be one answer, maybe multiple answers.
Yes, that's actually interesting. So we've got a session that will be delivered both myself and Jimmy Vaughan from Microsoft, who's the technology specialist for MTR. And the topic that we wanted to get out there was this exact topic of how do we help customers get back into the office? Multiple personas, multiple requirements, multiple spaces. Where do we need to start? And it's a balance between culture. It's a balance between your business objectives in terms of how you deliver that. But we've seen stats that are literally screaming from the rooftops that people are looking after their well-being. So that's the number one priority. There's roughly about 53% of individuals that are saying wellness and my life and my balance is more important to my job right now. And it's taking that into account and going, well, how do I make Duncan excited to come back into the office? Do I give him an Alice band headset when he gels his hair up? Probably not. Do I give him a choice and listen to what he has to say, that what he needs from a tool perspective for him to get back to the office? So yeah, I want a Bluetooth headset. perfect. How do we equip him? How do we make that more welcoming, bringing back the people into the office environment? So Jimmy and I go through that. It's a 30-minute session that we'll be delivering. It's exciting stuff, and there's some really good nuggets in my perspective of what we can be doing.
Yeah, Jimmy and I have presented in the past, and I know he's very sharp and really on top of things. One of the things that's really interesting is that we have found these rooms and these offices are not necessarily going to be returned to if no changes have been made. And that's one of the things that have come up when I spoke with our colleague Paul Clark and some of our other colleagues, is that this concept of when are people returning to the office. So the purpose of the office has changed. The technology has improved tremendously over the last 3 years. And unless we're, again, quoting Paul here, earning the commute, unless we're making it worthwhile for people to come back and have this hybrid lifestyle by giving them the right tools, by giving them appropriate tools wherever they are, we're just not going to get them to really invest in spending the time at the company that they would have done in the past.
Yeah, 100%. And Jimmy actually calls it like, work, the office is a tool right now. And that's how it should be seen, is how do I get to the office, utilize that, help me to be productive? Last we want is to get back to the office, and we're doing back-to-back 30-minute meetings like we're doing at home. We might as well just do it at home, right? So, there's a couple of things we will be sharing out in terms of that session with Jimmy, even things we've got to think of, like, the one top of mind thing for me is we should not do new hire onboarding remotely ever again. That has to be in person. You build relationships up from the start of that. I'm talking from experience. I did my new hire remotely, and I'm like,
Well, the two of you both were dealing with new hires, and yourself, Natalia, right, coming on board with remote. I mean, we all, if it hadn't been for Microsoft Teams, if it hadn't been for the tools and the technology that Polly and others provide, we wouldn't have been able to survive these last 3 years.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead, Duncan. Sorry.
We do need that human element, David. It's super important. We just Natalia and I just last week were at the Global Video Summit that Polly hosted in Austin, and when you sit in that room with these partners and you hear the excitement of being there in person, building relationships with everybody from our product engineering team to our leadership teams to our alliances teams, it's invaluable. It's priceless. So having those in-person sessions are really, they go a long way. Sorry, Natalia.
No, and I was just going to reinforce what you said and some of the things that David highlighted, right? We, in the past 2.5 years, we've done a ton of research, and we've taken advantage of, in even ourselves, to apply some of the things that we've learned in our offices to make sure that we're optimizing the spaces that we're using to be customized to actually the type of people and personas and work styles that are placed in different offices. And we've come to the conclusion that there's not a size that fits all, right? And part of the reason why we're there is that we're able to help customers make those decisions in a very smart way. Sometimes we need to meet our customers in person to kind of get to understand what their challenges are, right? And yes, we are very tied to being able to use our technology the way that we're using it today to be able to collaborate, but there is going to be a congregation value into joining people in the office, right? Because there are some relationships that you need to still build. You need to meet people for the first time. However, I'm not gonna I'll never get tired of saying this, because we do a really good job in trying to represent that through our experiences, is the meeting equity piece is really important, right? And bringing that to life through the experiences that we bring through our portfolio, and how we're doing that seamlessly, how we're doing that without putting a lot of effort for our end users to be able to use that technology, right? And people have gotten used to this grid of being face to face and being able to read environments and being able to read people and reactions to situations and discussions, and that cannot be a miss when you're back in the office, right? Especially for the people that are joining remotely, that collaboration needs to continue to excel and work seamlessly. So again, really excited to showcase how this is going to be brought to life in the different demos, and honestly the life that we're putting into the effort, to the things that we're creating for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll highlight in addition to what you've just said, and that, of course it's true. If for people that cannot make it out there, they absolutely should join it virtually, and they should also talk to their poly representative or their reseller about the poly experience centers that we have around the globe.
Yep.
Because one of the things that came up in a conversation we had online in our industry about a month ago or so is that while marketing is important, while knowledge is important, and introduction of new ideas and these awesome new announcements that I got to spill it at some point. Wait 2 days. But there's no difference. You can't replace the idea of seeing and touching and hearing our product, especially when you put our products side by side with some of the inferior products of our competitors. When you hear the sound coming out of the speakers, when you see the video that comes off of the cameras, you can't replace that experience. You really want to be able to understand the value that it provides. So we do have a large network of poly experience centers. If you don't know where one is near you, send me an email, send any of us an email, right? Go to poly.com. We'll find you a location to go to, and you can really see how some of these awesome pieces of equipment will perform in your offices and in your home.
Yep. And again, you want to try it out. Poly has multiple programs as well, from a demo pool kind of program where you can kind of POC this. And I think that is a key factor when you look at just what are we announcing, what takeaways you're going to be getting from Ignite, from Poly. You're going to get some takeaways that are related to product enhancements, that are feature rich, driving the ultimate audio and video experiences. But more importantly, is like, how do you get that back into your office? So there will be programs available for customers to plug themselves into to actually get devices, whether it's a meeting room, whether it's ability to trade in an old phone to get a new CCX phone, whether it's an opportunity to upgrade your headset, whatever it is. There are these programs that we're going to be talking about as well during Ignite.
That's great. Any other sessions that you should highlight for people that we're going to be participating in or making available to the people who are viewing?
Yeah, so we've got some live sessions, as I was saying. We've got the Ask the Experts. We've got this kind of, we call it the Sale to Scale, but that's just kind of talking about the remote return to office kind of experience with Jimmy and myself. And then, I think we've got that massive space that I'm talking about. When I say it's massive, it's pretty huge, where we're going to be doing real live demos with customers that are there in person and walking them through those scenarios.
And if you can't be at one of those centers, like I said, we'll hook you up and we'll get over to a PEC and we'll do it for you one-on-one. Natalia, any other thoughts you want to give people about this before we leave today? The idea of participating in this, or what people can hear from it, or sneak more announcements about what some of the things that we're going to say?
Absolutely. A couple of things. So in preparation for the event, I would say if you have not yet read any of our research that we have recently put out there, I would say that's a great background for some of the things that we will be talking about. And, some of the things that we'll be highlighting as announcements for the event. The other piece that I will highlight is that we have some really good leadership insight that will come to life through the digital core, which is the online version. So don't forget to visit our showcase. We are a global Premium Plus sponsor. So very interesting showcase that you'll be able to encounter there and kind of visit all the types of programs and things that we'll have available for the public.
Terrific, thank you. So Duncan, if anybody has any questions for you specifically or wants to reach out to you, how would you say they go about doing it? How should we get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can get hold of me directly by my email address, and I'm sure David, you can pop that up. Alternatively, you can go to Teams Microsoft at poly.com, and any one of our alliance managers globally will be able to pick up that email and action it immediately.
Terrific. And you can always write to me as well. Yeah, our emails are pretty easy. It's firstname.lastname@poly.com. And Natalia, same question for you. How would somebody get more information from you or reach out to you if they had a question?
Yeah, I'm very flexible. Like if they want to reach out to me through email, I'm more than welcome to answer any questions or anything that, if they're interested in seeing or learning about anything, from our perspective on our team, please reach out. And obviously, I'm also on LinkedIn, so they can find me there as well.
Terrific. So Natalia and Duncan, thank you very much for joining me for this week. And we really look forward to these announcements. And really, I'm dying here. It's going to be difficult. I'll try and see if I can. make sure maybe I'll rip the show down after a couple of days and put it up again with us actually spilling the. I'll figure something out. But that's it for this week's Poly Weekly News. On next week's show, we're going to be talking about a very important topic to me and to all of us here at Poly, in environmental social governance. Our guests will be industry analyst Carolina Milanese, and Erica Norris, and Katie Atwell Marizik, I got to pronounce her name right, will be co-hosting with me, and that's going to be on next week's show. But for now, that's it for this week. For all of my colleagues here at Poly, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.